The aurora was quiet, almost peaceful in the early hours of the star cycle. The crew moved silently through the corridors, their eyes often turning toward the medical bay where Solara rested. Inside, Solara lay on a comfortable reclining bed, her body glowing softly under the soft lights. The warmth within her had grown stronger, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat that belonged both to her and to the new life inside her. Dr. Elias Kane stood nearby, monitoring the readings closely. Every hour, every scan brought reassurance. The life inside Solara was healthy, strong, and fully formed, a perfect combination of human adaptability and Thaliri grace. He glanced at her. "You're ready," he said softly. Solara turned her luminous eyes to him, a small smile playing on her lips. "We are ready," she corrected. "This is not just my life. It is ours, human and Thaliri together." Elias nodded, though. He felt a shiver of nervous anticipation. The entire Alliance was aware of what was happening. Some envoys had arrived to observe, though they were kept at a respectful distance. Fear and curiosity had filled the aurora for weeks, but now it was time to witness something extraordinary. The birth of the first human-alien hybrid. The medical team prepared carefully. No one had ever performed anything like this before. Not on a Thaliri, not on a hybrid, not on a life born from human blood. Machines hummed softly, scanning, monitoring, adjusting. Solara's breathing was steady, but her hands rested protectively over her belly. Elias stayed close, his own heart pounding with excitement and fear. "Everything is normal," he whispered. "No complications. This life is perfect." Solara nodded, her crystal-like skin glowing a little brighter. "Then let it be born." The process began slowly. Monitors displayed vital signs, heartbeats, and energy levels. Solara's body adapted naturally, adjusting with strength and calm. Elias watched in awe as the life within her moved, responding to the environment, to her touch, to the presence of humans around her. Hours passed, and then, finally, the moment came. A soft cry echoed in the medical bay, not a human cry, not a Thaliri cry, but something new, clear, strong, and alive. A life had entered the galaxy for the first time, a life that carried the legacy of two species. Solara gasped, tears glimmering in her eyes. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Elias carefully lifted the newborn, holding it close. Its tiny body was perfect, with soft glowing skin, delicate hands, and eyes that held a spark of intelligence and awareness far beyond its size. The child looked up at him, and he felt an indescribable connection, a bridge between humans, Thaliri, and the future. "This is incredible," he murmured. Solara reached out, placing her hand over his, touching the child gently. "We did this together, humanity and Thaliri. This child is proof that life can unite, even when we think it cannot." News of the birth spread quickly through the aurora. The observing envoys and scientists gathered cautiously, some with wonder, some with hesitation. When they saw the child, the whispers began. "Human and Thaliri," one murmured. "Impossible, and yet it lives." "It is beautiful," said another softly. "A new life, a new hope." Commander Varix, who had been skeptical, stepped forward slowly. His deep eyes studied the child. For long moments he said nothing. Then finally he spoke. "It is not a threat," he admitted. "It is life, stronger than I imagined. Perhaps this is what the galaxy needs. Proof that we can unite, not fight." Other council members murmured in agreement. Slowly, the fear began to fade, replaced by awe and hope. Elias looked at Solara. "It seems they understand now," he said quietly. Solara smiled softly, though her eyes still held caution. Understanding is different from acceptance, but it is a start. In the following days, the child thrived. Its growth was rapid yet perfectly balanced. It learned quickly, responding to sounds, gestures, and emotions. Scientists marveled at its adaptability. Elias realized the truth of what he had always suspected: humans were not merely survivors. They were catalysts. Their biology was not just strong. It could create, heal, and unite in ways no other species could. The child became a symbol. News of its birth traveled beyond the Aurora, reaching other colonies, other worlds. Some leaders, who had doubted humanity, began to see them in a new light. Humans were not fragile. They were not ordinary. They were extraordinary. Solara became a symbol too, a bridge between species. Her courage in carrying the child, her strength in facing the council, and her willingness to embrace the unknown inspired many. Elias felt pride, not for himself, but for his people. Humans had entered the galaxy as newcomers, often underestimated, often dismissed. But now, through a single act of compassion, giving blood to save a life, they had sparked a change that could shape the future. The Alliance, once divided, slowly came together. Policies were adjusted to respect the new life. Research programs focused on understanding and protecting human adaptability, not exploiting it. Alien scientists studied human biology with care and respect, realizing that fear would only harm everyone. Solara and Elias continued to care for the child, teaching it, nurturing it, and guiding it as it grew. The child, though young, showed intelligence and awareness beyond expectations. It learned quickly, responding to human and Thalary cues with equal ease. Elias marveled at the potential. "This child, it could teach us so much," he said one evening, looking at the tiny being sleeping peacefully in Solara's arms. Solara nodded. "And not just about biology. About cooperation, trust, and hope. Humans may be short-lived, fragile creatures, but we carry something extraordinary inside us, a spark that can change worlds." Time passed, and the Aurora returned to its missions. The child grew, watched over by the crew and council, and became a living symbol of unity. Other species, once fearful of humans, now sought their cooperation. Humans were no longer just allies. They were seen as catalysts, beings whose strength lay not in weapons or technology, but in the resilience and adaptability of their very being. Elias and Solara often walked together on the observation deck, watching stars, thinking of the future. "The galaxy is different now," Solara said softly. "Yes," Elias replied, "because of one life, and because humanity dared to do what was right." Solara smiled, her hand resting on the child, now asleep in a small cradle. "And it is only the beginning. Humans may be few, but our blood, our lives, can change everything." Elias nodded, looking at the stars. He realized that the story of one child, born from courage, compassion, and human adaptability, was not just about life. It was about hope, about a future where species could unite, not fight, where understanding could replace fear, and where humans, though ordinary in appearance, were extraordinary in essence. The child stirred, stretching tiny limbs, and Elias smiled. "Welcome to the galaxy," he whispered. "Your life will remind everyone of what is possible." And somewhere deep in the stars, a new chapter of life began, a chapter in which humanity's true strength was revealed, not through war or power, but through courage, adaptability, and the spark of life itself. The Alliance watched in awe, and slowly hope spread across worlds, because humanity had shown the galaxy something it had never seen before, that even the smallest, seemingly fragile species could carry within them the power to change everything. The Aurora was silent, except for the hum of its engines and the soft beeps of medical scanners. Solara sat in her chamber, her hands gently resting on her growing belly. The warmth inside her was undeniable now, like a small sun beating steadily within her. Dr. Elias Kane watched from the side, his brow furrowed in thought. Every scan, every test, every analysis had confirmed the impossible. Something was forming inside her. A new life, a combination of human adaptability and Thaliri biology. He had run every simulation, every comparison, every possible theory. Nothing in known science could explain it. Yet there it was. Undeniable. Living, growing. He turned to Solara, who was watching him with quiet confidence. "It's more than I expected," he said softly. Solara's eyes sparkled. "What do you mean?" "I mean that this life," he said carefully, "is not just a child. It is something entirely new. Its cells carry human DNA, yes, but they are merging with your Thaliri cells. They are creating a hybrid, a being neither fully human nor fully Thaliri, yet perfectly alive." Solara placed a hand on his arm. "So it is a new species?" Elias hesitated. "Not yet, but it is the first of something that could change our understanding of life itself. Humans, we are more than we know. Our biology adapts in ways other species cannot. It seems that when my blood entered your body, it did not just heal. It interacted with your cells, guided them, and created a bridge." Solara's breath caught. "A bridge?" "Yes," Elias said, "a bridge between species. And that is why the Council fears it. They do not understand it, and fear is stronger than reason." The next day, the Council convened again. This time, the Aurora's Science Division had prepared detailed scans and reports. Elias presented the findings cautiously, aware that every word carried weight. "My fellow leaders," he began, "the life inside Solara is not a threat. It is not an experiment. It is a natural consequence of human adaptability interacting with Thaliri biology. Human blood contains repair and adaptation codes that allow it to adjust to threats, even in other species." Murmurs ran through the hall. Some leaders whispered in amazement. Others scowled, still doubtful. "Repair and adaptation codes?" Commander Varix growled. "Explain. How can this be natural? Humans are short-lived, fragile creatures. Their blood is ordinary." Elias shook his head. "That is the illusion. Humans survive because our bodies can adapt. We can recover from disease, resist toxins, and survive in environments that should kill us. This adaptability is encoded in our cells. It is part of our very being." The Council remained divided. Some envoys nodded slowly. Others whispered fears to their neighbors. Solara stood, her glowing form radiant under the hall lights. "I carry this life," she said. "Not as a weapon, not as proof of human power. I carry it as proof that life can unite, that we can cooperate, that something new and beautiful can emerge when we are brave enough to help each other." The room fell silent. Even Varix did not speak. In the medical bay later, Elias studied the latest scans. The hybrid life inside Solara was growing steadily. Its heart was strong, its cells dividing in perfect order. It was learning, in a sense, from both Solara and him. "Look at this," he said to Solara, pointing at the display. "The DNA sequences are reorganizing themselves. They are combining, but not conflicting. It's as if your cells are reading mine and creating something completely stable and new." Solara placed a hand over her stomach. "And it will survive?" "Yes," Elias said, a small smile on his face. "It is stronger than either of us. It will survive. And perhaps it will show the galaxy a new way forward. That humans are not weak as many think. That we are catalysts." She looked at him, eyes wide. "Catalysts?" "Yes," he said softly. "Your life, this life and my blood. We are proof that humans can spark change. Not with weapons, not with machines, but with what we are." Solara smiled faintly. "Then we must protect it, no matter what anyone says." Elias nodded, determination settling in his chest. They would face the Council, the skeptics, the fearful, and they would protect this new life. Meanwhile, whispers outside the medical bay were growing louder. Across the Aurora, scientists, guards, and crew members spoke of Solara's condition. Some were amazed, some fearful. Some spoke of miracles, others of dangerous mutations. Rumors reached the ears of the outer colonies. Merchants, explorers, and diplomats began spreading tales of human adaptability. Soon, humans were not just new allies. They were seen as extraordinary, unique, unpredictable. Some hailed them as heroes. Others feared them as unknown forces. The Alliance had not faced anything like this. A new life unlike any other had arrived, and it carried a message. Humans were not just fragile newcomers. They were potential catalysts for change, for healing, for creation, for cooperation across the galaxy. Back in the council chambers, the debate raged. Some envoys demanded control over Solara's child. Others demanded study. Some simply wanted to destroy what they did not understand. Solara stood, her glowing skin casting soft light across the room. This child is not a threat. It is proof of possibility, proof that we can overcome fear, mistrust, and separation, and it is alive. That is all that matters. Commander Varix clenched his fists, his tail flicking in frustration. You speak of possibilities, diplomat, but what if your optimism is wrong? What if it is dangerous? Solara met his gaze. Then we will face it, but we will not destroy life out of fear. We will not punish humans for being special. That is cruelty, not justice. Some envoys nodded. Some whispered their agreement. Slowly, a sense of hope began to spread through the hall. Days passed, and Solara continued to grow, stronger. Her body adapted in ways she could feel. She walked with greater confidence. Her mind was clearer, and the warmth in her stomach pulsed steadily, reminding her constantly of the life she carried. Elias stayed close, studying every detail, documenting everything. He realized something profound. Human biology was not just unique, it was a bridge. It could connect species, heal, adapt, and create. He thought of the future. Perhaps one day humans could travel to worlds others could not, survive in environments others would fail in, and create life in ways that had never been imagined. And now, proof existed, not as theory, not as speculation, but as living reality, inside Solara. That evening, Solara and Elias walked to the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly across the sky. The planets below glimmered softly. It is beautiful, Solara whispered, placing a hand on her stomach. A life we did not plan, yet it exists, Elias smiled. And it will teach the galaxy something important, that humans are not weak, that we are capable of things no one expected. Solara nodded. Then we must show them gently, carefully, not with fear or force, but with life itself. Elias looked at her and felt a surge of pride, not just for what they had done, but for humanity. Their short lives, their fragile bodies, their determination to survive, had sparked something new and impossible. Somewhere deep in the stars, he thought, humans were changing the universe, one life at a time. And the life inside, Solara, was only the beginning. The news spread across the aurora faster than light. Whispers carried through the halls, across mess rooms, and even into the command decks. Everyone spoke about the same thing. The Thaleri diplomat had survived only because of human blood. Some voices were full of wonder. Humans are incredible, a group of young scientists said. Their blood can heal what no other medicine can. Others spoke in fear. If their blood can change our bodies, a soldier muttered, then what else can it do? Could they control us? Infect us? By the time the council gathered again, the hall was full of tension. Aliens of many forms sat in their high seats. Tall insect-like beings, reptilian commanders, soft-skinned aquatic envoys, and more. Every eye turned to Elias as he entered. He felt their stares sharp as blades. Solara was there too, sitting close to him. Her crystal-like skin glowed more brightly than before, her movements graceful but strong. Some noticed the difference and whispered among themselves. Commander Varix rose first, his deep voice filling the chamber. Council members, we face a grave truth. The human's blood has not only saved Solara, it has changed her. Already she shows strength her people never possessed. This is not medicine, this is transformation. The chamber erupted with voices. A miracle, cried one leader. A danger, shouted another. We must demand the truth from the humans. Elias stood, his voice calm but firm. I have no secrets. My blood is not a weapon. Humanity has always survived by adapting. Our bodies fight against disease, against poison, against change. Maybe that is why Solara lived. That is all. Varix hissed. Do not pretend it is so simple. Your blood has done what no medicine could. How long before other humans use it for power? How long before they demand control over us? Solara raised her hand, her voice soft but strong. Elias did not act for power. He acted for life. Without him, I would not be here. But even as she spoke, her hand drifted unconsciously to her stomach. Elias noticed, and so did others. Whispers filled the air once again. Later, in the medical bay, Elias sat with Solara. The room was quiet except for the hum of machines. They are afraid of me, Solara said, her eyes distant. Afraid of what I have become. They don't understand, Elias replied. And what people do not understand, they fear. Solara looked at him. And you? Do you fear me now? Elias shook his head. No. But I fear what the council might do if they discover everything. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You mean the life inside me? He nodded slowly. The secret weighed heavily on him. The scans showed clear proof. A new life was forming within her. A life no one could explain. If they learn, Elias said, they may demand to take it, study it, control it. Solara's eyes hardened with resolve. They will not take it. It is mine, ours, and it is alive. That is all that matters. Elias admired her strength, but he also felt the storm that was coming. The storm arrived sooner than expected. That evening, a group of alien scientists came to Elias's quarters. Their leader, a tall insectoid named Dr. Rilex, bowed politely, but his eyes glittered with hunger for knowledge. Dr. Kane, Rilex said, we must study your blood, not just a sample, but full research. The future of the Alliance may depend on it. Elias frowned. Study? Or experiment? Rilex's wings twitched. We only wish to understand. If your blood can cure diseases, we could save billions. Elias hesitated. He knew their words carried truth but also danger. If every species demanded his blood, humans could become nothing more than resources, tools to be drained and used. I will think about it, he said carefully. But the request did not end there. Soon, others came. Soldiers, leaders, even merchants. Some offered wealth, some offered power, some offered threats. All wanted the same thing: human blood. Elias felt the walls closing in. Humanity was no longer seen as equal allies. They were seen as carriers of something powerful, something others wanted. Meanwhile, Solara faced her own struggles. Her body grew stronger each day. She could walk with ease. Her voice carried greater energy, and her senses felt sharper. Her people noticed, and many grew uneasy. One evening, as she walked through the observation deck, a group of Thaleri envoys confronted her. You are not the same as us anymore, one whispered. Your skin glows too brightly. Your steps are too firm. What are you becoming? Solara met their fearful eyes. I am still Thaleri, but perhaps I am also something more. They backed away, whispering words of fear. Solara felt pain in her heart, but also a strange sense of destiny. Later, alone in her chamber, she placed her hand once more on her stomach. The warmth inside her was stronger now, undeniable. She whispered to the unseen life, They may fear us, but I will protect you. Days passed, and the tension on the Aurora grew heavier. Rumors spread that Solara carried something inside her, a child that should not exist. Some claimed it was proof that humans could rewrite biology. Others, said it was a dangerous mutation that must be destroyed. Commander Varix called a private meeting with several council members. His words were sharp. If this child exists, it is a threat to balance. Imagine a hybrid with human resilience and alien gifts. Who will control it? What if it cannot be controlled at all? A few nodded in agreement. Better to end it now than face disaster later. But not all agreed. Some saw hope in it. Perhaps it is a bridge, one leader said quietly. A sign that we are not so different after all. The council remained divided. One night Elias was working in the lab when the door opened without warning. Solara entered, her face pale with worry. They know, she said. Elias looked up sharply. Who knows? The council. They suspect. They will come soon. Her hands trembled slightly, but her eyes were firm. We must decide, Elias. Will we hide, or will we tell them the truth? Elias felt his chest tighten. He wanted to protect her, to protect the life inside her. But hiding forever was impossible. The truth would come out sooner or later. Solara, he said quietly, if we reveal this, they may see it as a miracle, or they may see it as a threat. Are you ready for both? She took his hand gently. I am ready. Because this life is worth everything. Elias stared into her determined eyes. For the first time since this began, he realized she was not afraid. She was prepared to fight for what she believed in, and he knew then that he would stand beside her no matter the cost. But outside their small circle, the galaxy stirred with growing unrest. Some species already demanded human blood samples. Others prepared defenses, fearing hidden power. And within the council, voices rose louder, demanding answers. The Aurora was no longer just a ship of peace. It had become the center of a storm that could shape the future of the entire alliance, and at the heart of it all was Solara, carrying a life no one could explain, a life born from the blood of a human. Solara lay in the recovery chamber aboard the Aurora. Her body glowed faintly under the soft medical lights, her breathing now steady and calm. Around her, doctors and machines worked together, scanning every cell, every organ. Dr. Elias Kane sat quietly nearby, watching the monitors. His face looked calm on the outside, but inside he carried a storm of thoughts. He had saved her life, but something about the readings bothered him. The numbers on the screen were not normal. Solara's cells were not just recovering, they were transforming. The Thaleri species usually healed slowly. A small wound could take weeks to close, but Solara's body was healing at a speed closer to humans, faster than her kind had ever shown. Her blood pressure had returned to perfect levels. Her heart beat with strength it had never displayed before. And then there was something stranger. 3. Scans revealed patterns inside her blood that did not belong. Tiny strands of human DNA were weaving with Thaleri strands, not rejecting them, not fighting them, but joining them. Elias leaned closer to the screen, whispering to himself, "This is impossible." At that moment, the chamber door opened. A tall council officer stepped in, his eyes cold and sharp. His name was Commander Varix, from the reptilian species known as the Dravari. He carried authority in his every movement, his scales shining under the light. "You," Varix said, his voice deep. "The human. You will explain." Elias stood. "I already explained. She was dying. I gave her plasma. It saved her." Varix's eyes narrowed. "And yet the monitors show changes no Thaleri body has ever known. Tell me, human, what have you done to her?" "I don't know," Elias admitted. His voice was steady, but his mind was racing. "All I know is that her body accepted my blood. It adapted. Somehow it worked." The commander's tail flicked with suspicion. "Or perhaps humans have hidden abilities we were never told about. Do you think the Alliance will ignore this?" Before Elias could answer, a soft voice came from the chamber. "Please stop." Both men turned. Solara had opened her eyes. She looked weak, but her voice carried calm strength. She slowly sat up inside the recovery pod. Elias rushed to her side. "You shouldn't move yet. Rest." Solara gave him a small smile. Your blood saved me. I owe you my life. Her gaze shifted to Commander Varix. But suspicion will not help us now. The plague is still spreading. We must focus on that, not on fear. Varix bowed his head slightly, but his eyes remained wary. Very well. But this matter will not be forgotten. He turned and left the room, leaving behind silence. Solara sighed and looked at Elias. They fear what they do not understand. Elias nodded. So do I. He hesitated, then added, There's something else. The scans. They show more than healing. Your body is changing, adapting. Solara frowned. Changing? How? Elias hesitated, searching for the right words. Your cells are repairing faster, stronger, and there are patterns forming, human and Thaliri DNA, mixing. Her eyes widened in shock. That should not be possible. I know, Elias said softly, but it's happening. For a long moment, Solara was silent. Then she whispered, What does it mean? Elias shook his head. I don't know yet. But whatever it is, it started with my blood. The next day, the council gathered again. The great meeting hall was filled with voices, some angry, some afraid. Word had already spread that Solara had survived only because of human blood. Some leaders praised humanity. They are more than useful allies, one said. They bring hope, others were less kind. Or they bring danger. If their blood can change us, what else can it do? Commander Varix spoke loudly. We cannot allow one species to hold secret powers over the rest. We must investigate the humans fully. Perhaps their blood is a weapon. The chamber filled with murmurs. Some nodded in agreement. Others protested. Solara rose slowly from her seat. She was still weak, but her presence carried weight. Enough, she said firmly. I live because of Dr. Kane. Without him, I would be gone. Do not twist his act of mercy into a crime. Her voice silenced the hall. She looked around, at the gathered leaders. Yes, something strange has happened to me, but that does not mean humans are our enemy. It may mean something greater, something we have not yet understood. The council remained divided, but her words calmed some of the fear. For now, the matter was left unsettled. Later, in the quiet of the medical bay, Elias and Solara spoke again. Do you regret it? She asked him. Giving me your blood? Elias shook his head. No. I would do it again. A life saved is worth the risk. Solara studied him for a long time. Then she said softly, I feel different, Elias. Stronger. Clearer. And there is something else. What is it? He asked. She placed a hand over her stomach. I feel a presence inside me. A warmth. My people do not carry children naturally. We grow them in life chambers, but this, it feels alive. Elias froze, his eyes wide. That's not possible. I know, she whispered. And yet, it is there. Elias quickly moved to the scanners. He activated the medical display, running a deep scan of her body. The results appeared slowly, and when they did, his breath caught in his throat. Inside Solara's body, faint but undeniable, was a growing form. Not just cells, but organized patterns of life. Something new. Something neither fully human nor fully Thaliri. Elias stepped back, his voice low. This shouldn't be happening. Solara's voice trembled, but her eyes were steady. Then tell me, Doctor, what has your blood truly done? That night, Elias could not sleep. He sat alone in his quarters, staring at the stars, outside the window. His mind kept replaying the images from the scan. A life was forming inside Solara, something no science could explain. He thought about what it could mean. If the council discovered this, would they see it as a miracle or as a threat? Would they demand to study it, control it, maybe even end it? And what about humanity? What if their blood held secrets no one had ever known? Secrets that could change. The future of the galaxy? His chest felt heavy. He had wanted only to save a life, but now he had started something much greater, something that could unite or divide entire worlds. The door chimed, breaking his thoughts. Elias opened it and Solara stood there, her crystal-like skin glowing softly in the dark. "I could not sleep," she said quietly. "May I come in?" He nodded and stepped aside. She walked to the window, gazing out at the endless stars. "When I look at the sky, I feel small. But now, I feel something growing inside me that makes me feel larger than I ever imagined." Elias joined her, his voice low. "This is bigger than us, Solara. The Council will not understand, they will fear it." "Then we must protect it," she said firmly. "Whatever it is alive, and it is a part of both of us." Her words struck him deeply. He realized then that this was no longer just about saving one life. It was about protecting a future that had never existed before. For the first time, Elias felt the true weight of what it meant to be human in the galaxy. Not just a fragile newcomer, but a spark that could ignite something entirely new. And somewhere deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. The vast starship Aurora floated above the pale blue planet of Carvenus. It was not a human ship. It belonged to the Alliance, a council of many alien civilizations who worked together to keep peace across the stars. On this day, the ship was full of leaders, scientists, and envoys from a dozen worlds. They had gathered to discuss the sudden rise of a strange plague spreading across the colonies. Humans were new to the Alliance. They had joined only 20 years ago, still young compared to the ancient species around them. Some aliens respected their bravery, others doubted their worth. But all agreed that humans were different, short-lived, fragile, yet strangely persistent. Dr. Elias Kane, a human scientist and physician, stood near the edge of the great meeting hall. He had been chosen to represent Earth's medical division. His sharp eyes studied the chamber, the tall pillars glowing with soft silver light and the circle of alien leaders. His mind was full of questions. Would they listen to him? Would they dismiss him as many had done before? As the meeting began, a tall alien figure rose from her seat. Her name was Solara, a diplomat from the Thaleri, a graceful species with pale crystal-like skin and long flowing hair that shimmered like glass. The Thaleri lived for centuries but were physically fragile. Solara was respected for her wisdom, her calm voice carrying across the hall. She spoke of the plague. It spread quickly through air and water, attacking the lungs and blood. No known cure existed. Many colonies were already losing thousands. "We must find unity," she said, "or we will all fall apart." But as she spoke, her voice weakened. Her hands trembled. Then, without warning, her body collapsed to the floor. Gasps echoed through the hall. Guards rushed forward. Medical drones scanned her body, projecting red warning signs in the air. "Life signs failing," the drones announced. The alien doctors panicked. They injected fluids, scanned her organs, tried every known Thaleri treatment. Nothing worked. Her crystal-like skin grew dim, her chest rising weakly. Elias felt his heart race. He could not just stand there. He pushed forward, ignoring the disapproving looks from alien officials. "Move aside," he shouted. "This is not your concern, human," a tall reptilian officer growled. "She will die if you don't let me try," Elias snapped back. His voice was firm, his eyes burning with determination. Something about his tone silenced the hall. He knelt beside Solara, his hands quick but gentle. He checked her pulse, shallow and fading. Her blood pressure was crashing. Her body was rejecting every drug given to her. Elias thought fast. The plague. It must have entered her bloodstream. But why was it killing her so fast? Her species had no immunity, no defense. Her body was too fragile. He glanced at the alien. Medkits. None of them would work. Their medicines were tailored for their own biology. Humans, however, were different. Human blood was strange. It adapted. It fought infections quickly, adjusting to threats in ways most species could not. A wild idea filled his mind, dangerous, untested, but maybe her only chance. He pulled out a small injector from his own kit. He tapped his wrist, opening a vein. Warm red blood flowed into the vial. The alien doctors gasped in shock. "What are you doing?" one demanded. "Her body can't fight this plague," Elias said firmly. "But my blood can. If I transfer plasma, it may give her immune system the strength to survive." "That is madness," another cried. "Human blood is incompatible with the Lyri cells." "Maybe," Elias admitted, "but she's dying. We have no time to debate." For a moment silence hung heavy. The council members stared, some horrified, others frozen with fear. Finally, Solara's aide, an elderly Thaliri, whispered, "Do it, please. Save her." Elias wasted no time. He connected the vial to the injector and carefully pushed the plasma into Solara's veins. His heart pounded. If he was wrong, it could kill her instantly. For long moments, nothing happened. Her skin remained dull, her breathing shallow. The hall grew tense, every eye fixed on her still form. Elias clenched his fists, silently begging it to work. Then, her chest rose deeper. Her breathing grew steadier. The dullness in her crystal-like skin slowly brightened, faint light returning to her body. "She is stabilizing," the drones announced. The hall erupted in murmurs. Some voices were filled with relief, others with suspicion. But Elias ignored them. He focused only on Solara, whose faint eyes fluttered open. Her gaze met his. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "You saved me." Elias gave a small smile. "Rest now. You're safe." The guards lifted her gently, carrying her to the medical bay. But even as she left the chamber, the council's eyes turned to Elias. "You risked much," the reptilian officer hissed. "This action will have consequences." Elias stood tall, his voice calm but unwavering. "I did what was right. If saving a life has consequences, then I will accept them." The meeting ended in chaos. Some leaders praised Elias for his bravery. Others accused humans of meddling in alien affairs. Later, in the medical bay, Solara rested in a recovery chamber. Her skin glowed softly, her breathing strong. Elias sat nearby watching the monitors. He felt relief, but also unease. Because deep inside, he knew something strange was happening. Her cells were not just healing, they were changing. His blood had done more than stabilize her. It had begun something no one could yet explain. Elias stared at the glowing chamber, his mind heavy with questions. What had he done? What would happen to her? And what new path had humanity stepped onto in this vast galaxy? For now there were no answers. Only the knowledge that a single drop of human blood had changed everything.